Have you ever wondered what a life coach actually does? In this video, I'm going over what exactly a life coach is and what they actually do. So let's talk about a role of a coach, who a coach is and what a coach is. Let's use sports to help envision what a life coach is. So if you look at Kobe Bryant, Peyton Manning, Mike Tyson, all of these sports icons had coaches. And what did these coaches actually do? They helped them in the process of growth and becoming that icon, right? So they facilitated the evolution of the player from being someone who nobody knows about to someone who everyone knows about. Basically achieving their goals when it came to the sport and the game that they were playing. So a life coach basically does that. They facilitate the growth and evolution of the player or their client in the game that they're playing, which is life. Whether it's improving your health, improving your finances, improving your spirituality, and improving your relationships. These four pillars are important to all of us as human beings. And by having a coach by your side to help you and keep you focused, accountable, and just overall on task, because when it comes to our evolution of ourselves, a lot of the times we get scatterbrained. There's so many different things, so many different plates that we're juggling. Which ones do we focus on, right? Well, coaches have tools and techniques to help see what is the huge opportunity, what is the thing that is not stopping you from getting to where you need to be. And we try to work and challenge you to try to get to where you need to be. Okay, so now that we know what a coach is, what do they actually do? How do they make us get to where we need to be? Well, the first thing that's extremely important when it comes to personal development and growth as a whole is belief. Some very outgoing people have a deep belief in themselves. If you look at Mike Tyson, for example, he said, "I'm going to be the greatest in the world.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been."
He owned the idea of him being the greatest boxer in the world. He ended up knocking out bigger people than himself because of that belief that he held inside. Now, the beautiful thing about human beings is that if you hold that belief, then you can truly make the moves in your life to achieve the goals that you want. So what if you are a high achiever, right? Like you are a high achiever, you get shit done, but then you get fear, right? You get imposter syndrome and you get stuck because you don't feel right doing the things, you don't accept your role. You feel like, damn, I didn't deserve this, right? Well, that's where a coach comes in. And they hold that belief. They hold the belief in you. So belief is a powerful thing. And sometimes we lose it. We lose our own confidence in ourselves. And when we have a coach, as long as one person in that room believes in that person's future, then they can channel that momentum and push that person forward. So if you look at Kobe Bryant, you look at Michael Jordan, you look at these heroes in sports, they had a coach and a team that believed in them. They believed in themselves. But overall, the conglomerate of that energy helped them move forward, right? Sometimes we can do this on our own, but having that support and that guide by our side, wow, then you can make real magical things happen. So what does a coach do? They hold the vision for their client and they can see the higher possibilities and the higher evolutions of their progress. And they hold that belief for them because they genuinely believe in that person in front of them. So basically, a coach is a personal visionary for another person. A personal visionary is someone who looks at the life of another person and sees the bigger vision of that person than they can see for themselves. Now, this is really important because most of us don't have someone in our lives that can see the next level for us. So what do coaches do? They facilitate the growth of their client. They believe in their client and they are personal visionaries for their client. And they believe in their greatness. They believe that they can actually achieve the things that they're striving for, even if they don't believe that they can. You have to believe it. You have to believe in your client. This way they can be motivated and use that energy of someone's belief to actually strive and conquer what they need to do. Now, another thing that a coach does is trust. They have to have trust in between the relationship of themselves and their client. They have to have that trust so the client feels free to speak and safe to speak in front of their coach. They have to be able to build that connection and build that understanding that this is a safe space and it's good for you to talk so we can uncover things that you might not be able to see for yourself. Certain patterns, certain things that you do that are preventing you from getting to where you want to be. It's good to voice who you are to your coach, be fully transparent, and this way the coach is able to help you out with whatever it is that you're struggling with. And great coaches, while they're building that trust and that connection with their client, they have intentional empathy. And that is listening actively and trying to put themselves in the shoes of their client, trying to empathize with the emotions that their client is bringing into the conversation, right? This way, you can be connected and grounded and connect with your client in order to really show that you care and that you're actively listening to what exactly is it that they're struggling with. And coaches, through intentional empathy, end up becoming professional friends. And what do I mean by that? Well, in a friendship, there usually is a give and take. You share attention, you give information to somebody, they exchange information back, you converse, and you build bonds with people. And then eventually, one side will reveal something about themselves that's like, ooh, this is like secretive, or this is like my inner self, don't want to share too much to people you don't know, but people you trust, you end up, sharing more information about yourself. And then the other person feels like, good, you're being open and honest with me. I want to share some information with you, right? And then, you go back and forth and you build that bond. But when coaching, the cool thing about it is that it's all focused on the client. So instead of going back and forth and like, oh, you shared something, let me share something, it's more like you shared something, safe space. I love that. I'm not going to bombard you with my information unless it helps you or helps me build a point to like get you to where you need to be. But the most part, it's always focused on the client, right? The client is the center of attention. The client is the person that's going to be able to share that information and speak their truth in a safe space. Coaches are there to listen and help that client or guide them through the process. So in this friendship, it's more of you giving and us taking, as in like the coach is taking in a lot of information and we don't give a lot, we give more questions to help them find clarity, find focus, and find the root issues of whatever it is that they're struggling with, along with giving action plans and helping with advice, helping them with guidance. So that is another thing that coaches do. We do give back. We give back plans of execution and everything like that. But for the most part, it focuses on the client. And everything should be focused on the client, because even advice, right? Sometimes we can give advice if it truly is something that's going to help your client, but we try to avoid giving advice as coaches. And the reason we do that is to empower our clients by questions and helping them figure out their thought process and just mapping out whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. They become motivated, they start strategizing internally, and you ask them, like, what is it that you think is the first step for you to get to where you need to be? And you empower them by coming up with their own ideas. This is a lot easier instead of giving advice and then hoping that they execute. Since they didn't come up with that advice on their own, chances are they might not execute, or they might execute and then things not go their way and then they blame you for it. So it's good to ask questions and help your clients find their own answers to their problem. And that is what life coaches do. They help clients find their own answers to their problems, which empowers them, makes them feel more motivated, and makes them feel like they can figure things out on their own. So it's like a child, right? You're like holding their hand. Say, for example, they're opening a bag of chips and they can't open it up. And instead of just opening up the bag and then giving it to the kid, you tear it a little bit and then give it back to the kid so they can figure out how to open it. And then now they've learned, right? You just like help little by little to try to push them and facilitate that change. But eventually they figure it out on their own. They get more empowered, they get more confident, and just more success, right? So that is what a coach does. All right, so in this video, I gave you a lot of information on what a life coach actually does. I also gave you a little snippet of what a life coach is so you can have a clear understanding or put two and two together as to what a life coach does. And if you feel motivated to hire a life coach, feel free to reach out. I left the link in the description for my Calendly. We can jump on a 30-minute call, see what your dreams and aspirations are, figure out what's holding you back or why haven't you gotten there yet, and then we'll execute a program to figure out how we can work together to help you achieve that goal. So if that sounds good to you, I'm looking forward to hear from you. If not, that's totally okay. Feel free to check out this video right here that'll give you more information on life coaching. Thanks again for tuning into Prosperous Pathways, where we help plan, execute, and prosper. And remember, with patience, we prevail.